So before explaining problem 10.10, I should go back and talk about the p-value test, because that's the basis by which we've been able to conclude whether there's enough evidence in the other problems. So the idea with the p-value test is that it provides valuable information because it's a measure of the amount of statistical evidence that supports the alternative hypothesis. So, and if there's not enough evidence to support the alternative, then you stick with the null. So if you look at the bullet points, if the p-value is less than 1%, there's overwhelming evidence that supports the alternative hypothesis. If the p-value is between 1 and 5%, there's strong evidence. If the p-value is between 5 and 10%, then there's weak evidence that supports the alternative hypothesis. And if the p-value exceeds 10%, there's no evidence. And back in problem 10.8, it exceeded 10%. It was 0.3707. So there was no evidence to conclude in that case that the airline's on-time performance has improved. So that's kind of key to keep in mind, and I didn't do a very good job of explaining that in the other video, so I thought I'd better start off with that on this video. So now let's go to problem 10.10. In this case, we're looking at a satisfaction survey of policyholders who've had a claim with State Farm Insurance, and it's revealed a 90% satisfaction rate for claim service. So to check the accuracy of this claim, a random sample of State Farm claimants was asked to rate whether they were satisfied with the quality of service. If they were satisfied, they indicated that with a 1. If it was a 2, that indicates they're unsatisfied. So the question we're trying to answer or hypothesize, can we infer that the satisfaction rate is less than 90%? So the null is equal to 90%, the alternative is less than 90%, and over in column A we've got the list there. So there's a sample of 177, and actually, to calculate the satisfied, we're going to use a function here. It's called equal count if, open paren, and now I'm supposed to indicate the range. So it's A2 is the first cell, and I'm going to put a colon, and then it's going to go to A178 because there's 177 items in the sample. And in this case, the comma, and now I want to indicate the criteria. And in this case, we're looking for satisfied, so that would be if there's a number 1 in that cell, and close parentheses, and the indication there is 153 out of 177. So let's calculate p hat based on that. So it's equal to 1 E7 divided by E6, which gives us 0.8644, and now we've got the P of 0.9 and the N, of course, of 177. So let's do the calculation for Z, and in this case it's going to be equal to p hat minus p divided by the square root of p times 1 minus p divided by n. Close parentheses, hit enter. which gives us a z-value of minus 158. So down here, p-value is equal to pz, which is minus 1.58. And that's going to be equal to something here. And the way we determine that is we go table 3 on page 309, where we have minus 1.5 and 0.08. And we're going to see the value of that here in just a second. Let me make that a little smaller. So in this case, 1.5 is right here, and 0.8 is the second column from the right, and so that gives us here the 0.0571. 0.0571. And remember, if we go back to the p-values, if it's somewhere between 5 and 10%, I'll click back over here, there is weak evidence that supports the alternative hypothesis. So in this case, there's not enough evidence to infer that the satisfaction rate is less than 90%. Alright, that's it for 10.10.